Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, so you can join our tech family. If it is informative to you, please like our video, share it with your friends so they can get help with these video, and don't forget to press all notification bell icon so you get regular update and don't miss any single video.
Okay, so we've gone through and discovered our wireless networks. We've used our GPS mapping to get their locations. The next step is then going through and doing wireless traffic analysis and determine any vulnerabilities that may be in this network. And we're going to do this a couple different ways. The first thing that we'll do is actually look for vulnerabilities. And this can be done just like we normally do on our wired networks. And again, our whole purpose here is to determine an appropriate strategy for attacking the network. The other thing too here that you need to remember, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, is that again, this is wireless. So the traffic itself is just flowing through the air and it isn't serialized, which makes it extremely easy to sniff and analyze the packets. The next step of attack is then going through and doing a little bit more in-depth reconnaissance. We'll be looking for SSIDs, whether they're hidden or being broadcasted. We'll also take a look at access points. How many are there? We'll try to discover the encryption being utilized, as well as the authentication that they're trying to use. Now, some folks ask, well, Dale, why do we need to know how many access points they have? Well, twofold. First of all, it gives us a kind of a layout of the network infrastructure itself, but more importantly, I'm going to be looking to see if all the access points have been patched. A lot of times, especially when the companies have multiple access points, they may do firmware upgrades for one or two, and they may forget one. That could be my door into your network. And there's even more cool tools out there that will help us to determine all these reconnaissance requirements or issues. Those include things that we've seen already, including Wireshark, because again, packets are just going through the network. Wireshark can sniff that out. Now we might need some additional plugins. We'll talk about one of the more popular ones here a little bit later on. But we also have some very specific products out there for wireless, including Air Magnet, OmniPeak, and AirSnort. We interrupt this program to talk to you about cards. No, not these type of cards. I'm talking about wireless cards. When you're trying to implement an attack against a network via Wi-Fi, choosing the right Wi-Fi card is extremely important because some applications won't work correctly, or I should say they only work correctly with certain types of cards. And it also depends on what the attacker is trying to accomplish. For example, by default, Windows can listen on the network but doesn't have the capability of injecting data packets, where Linux actually has the ability to inject and listen. Boy, that looks like a painful looking picture. So when it comes to cards and your choice of cards, you need to understand a couple things. First of all, there are two manufacturers of a card. There is the manufacturer of the brand of card, and then there's the manufacturer of the chipset of the card. Knowing that the card manufacturer and model isn't necessarily enough information to choose your Wi-Fi card. You've got to know about the chipset. Now, a lot of manufacturers don't like to reveal their chipsets, but don't worry. Very easy to determine a chipset. You can simply do a search on the internet. You can look at the Windows driver file names because often the driver name itself has the chipset in it. You can check the manufacturer's page, really drill into the specs of the card. And the other thing you need to be careful about is that many times a manufacturer of a card will change the chipset while keeping the same model number. So in some cases, I've seen folks actually pop the covers off so they can actually look at the chips. Often the chipset number can be seen directly, or it's printed directly on the chipset itself. Now you'll also want to verify the chipset capabilities. What I mean by that is that if the chipset's not compatible with the operating system, or it doesn't meet the requirement of the application, it may be of no use to you. You'll also want to make sure that drivers are available. You'll also want to determine if the drivers have been updated or if they're available for the different operating systems, especially when it comes to Linux. Now, one of the more famous cards out there was an old PCMCIA card that was called the Orionco Gold card. In this case here, you can see that the manufacturer was Proxima, but the chipset was Orionco. And the reason why it was so popular is you probably can't see it, but down there where it has the name Proxima, on the far left, there's a little cap, and that cap could be used to attach an external antenna. Oh, such as a Yagi. Back in my day, I actually had one of these that I plugged into my HP iPac. Now, go figure, I was able to sniff networks with Mini Stumbler, a Yagi, and this card. It was really quite cool. Now, one of the more popular products out there is referred to as AirPCAP. AirPCAP is actually an adapter. You like the ominous look there? It's because they're the big boys on the block. You don't mess with them. They're extremely cool. The product's extremely cool. It allows me to sniff packets and link it directly into Wireshark if I want to. The downside to it is it's not cheap. But cheap is a relative term. The adapters themselves, there's different models, but they range anywhere from about $300 up to about $2,500. And they're simply a little USB adapter that you plug in. Now with this adapter, an attacker could configure it to decrypt a web encrypted frame. Now, if monitoring a single channel isn't enough, again, depending on the model, they have a multi-channel adapter, as well as you can plug in multiple AirPCAP cards inside of the same network card. So you could capture different frequencies if you'd like. Again, depending on the card that you pick up, it also has the ability to do injection. Again, by default, we mentioned the Windows doesn't have that capability, but adding an AirPCAP card, I can definitely overcome that. It also has a lot of support for third-party applications, including Cane Enable, Wireshark, and AirKraken. But wait, there's more. It also includes an AirPCAP software distribution that replays 802.11 network traffic that's inside of a trace file, so you can always do a replay. Obviously, that requires a little bit more money. But Dale, is there an alternative out there? You know, there's really not. There was some rumors of a company called Acrylic that is working on a competitive product, but AirPCAP kind of pretty much owns this market. You may want to check with Acrylic after watching this video in case they've come out with that product. Last I heard it was in beta.
We hope you enjoyed the video and found value in the content. We value your feedback. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to post them in the comments section or contact us directly via our social platforms. Thanks for watching.